Hey, Pete!
Hi!
Guess what? We got a new Twitch subscriber.
Cool.
They subscribed using a Twitch Prime account.
What's a Twitch Prime account?
Twitch Prime is when you use your Amazon Prime account to connect to your Twitch account. You get a free subscription.
So you're saying if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can have a Twitch subscription to any channel for free?
Completely for free to any channel.
Any channel?
Any channel.
Completely free?
Completely free.
So you're saying if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can get a Twitch channel subscription for things like emotes, subscriber exclusive streams, sub-only discords, instant replays, badges, and no ads. And those are just the things our channel offers for free.
Completely for free. Just connect your Amazon Prime account.
Well, that sounds like a deal to me.
Now we're live.
Hello! We started with our mics. You should be all very proud of me, us. Welcome to Party of Two, where a married couple takes on a world of gods and monsters. I am your GM for this story arc, Hayley Bell.
And I am your player, Weston. I will be playing as the Sorcerer Cleric.
I feel like I'm super off-centered. I don't know why.
So do I. It's all right.
My whole world is off-centered right now, you guys. Welcome! We are so excited to be here and to continue our character's journey into Kintargo. But first, we have a few announcements. Weston, what would you like to tell the lovely people?
I would like to tell the lovely people, if you missed it at the beginning, we did have a little ad for you to subscribe. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can actually get a subscription for free. You just connect your Amazon Prime membership to your Twitch account, and it'll give you a free Twitch Prime subscription that you can do.
You guys, we had to do that ad so many times, and we had to talk through it so many times just because of those Amazon Prime,
the Twitch Prime
Amazon
account.
Prime Twitch channel subscription. Those words were like the most difficult things to get out. So the final product, well, maybe not 100% polished and beautiful, is very us.
Yes, it is.
So anyway.
Also, as usual, video on demand will be available on Friday. Yep. On our YouTube channel at Party of Two RPG.
All one word.
Yes.
Yep.
All one word. You can watch all of our replays there, including there is actually an 8-minute recap of the whole first arc, in case you missed that.
Yes, so if you've missed the first 10 episodes and you don't really feel like sitting through 30 hours of gameplay, which I'll be totally honest, I don't totally blame you, although we are awesome. You can watch that 8.5-minute video and... Okay, fine, you can blame me. And you will get totally caught up in that story arc. And at the end of this story arc, we're going to be doing a recap as well. We are continuing our donation drive to Utah Parent Center, which is an organization designed to help parents with children that have autism. Our oldest is autistic, and we have utilized their services a couple of times through our schooling adventures with that whole deal. They offer their services completely free. They work as advocates to the government, to school systems, to local organizations and whatnot for parents, and they run off almost exclusively donations. So if you feel it in your heart to donate $2,
anything helps. Anything helps. Skip your soda, skip
or your morning coffee. To that mom and pop store, Starbucks.
Yes, and you can then donate to.
Put my headphones on.
You can then donate to this wonderful organization.
Yep, they're really awesome. Second is, I guess not second, but sort of second, is a podcast. We do have this show in podcast form. You can find that in all of the major podcasting streaming sites right now. We have it on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Radiohead, Heart Radio, whatever. Coming very soon to iHeartRadio and Pandora as well. If you have a streaming platform that you really like to use and it is not on it, please let us know. You can either shoot me a whisper or you can put it in the chat and we'll go through that later, and we can get it on there. There's lots of them out there, and I don't have 10,000 years to submit to platforms, so if you have a favorite, let me know. What's another thing?
We do have still at 10 subscribers. We are going to be doing our watch party.
Oh, yep.
We got some votes last week. The voting was between Dudes and Dragons or Dragon Slayer, and Dragon Slayer appeared to be the hands down winner, which I am happy about that because I like that show a lot.
Yeah. Hi, Reaper.
And so as we, the goal for tonight is 1 subscriber, but once we hit 10, we will be doing that watch party for subscribers only.
Yes. So if you want to subscribe and help us hit our goal for today, which is 1, that would be fantastic. If you have your Amazon Prime account, you can attach that. I don't know if we've made that clear at this point. Or if you want to skip out on your morning coffee tomorrow morning and support a small streaming site, that would be awesome. That's us. I don't think we have anything else to say.
I think that's all of it.
Okay, I'm excited for tonight, you guys.
So with that, we will start into tonight's episode of Party of 2. Not quite sure why, but it looks like the logo was off center.
I know. Welcome back. So last time we left off, our band of intrepid adventurers were going into the wilderness to begin their adventure to Kintargo. They were going there specifically to figure out the mystery of a missing leader of the Bellflower Network. And on their journey, they went through a fairly enchanted feeling part of the forest where some type of entity was following them along as they were going through. They weren't able to see it, but they could feel it. And at one point, almost fight with it. Because
Ana kind of wanted to throw down.
Has a very difficult time with things she cannot see. After they got through the forest, they approached a river area that had completely washed out the path. And with their cart and horse, they were not able to continue forward. So they got off and walked through the water and came up and over a rise into the Crystal Canyon, an area where all the rock is not rock, but crystal quartz, this beautiful area, and encountered a group of bugbears attacking a merchant caravan. And they defeated them, helped heal one of the warriors who was fighting the bugbears before their rescue, yes, I guess, and met a possible new friend. So, as you've just saved the warrior, brought him back to health so that he was not dying anymore, and a portly man comes out from around the carriage that was standing just a ways off from the actual cargo wagon. He's kind of shorter, his longer brown hair that kind of hits his shoulders, but it's pulled back into a small ponytail. He's dressed very extravagantly with silken type robes and a very, very nice tunic, high leather boots that have obviously never really seen anything other than the stone floors of a castle.
Human.
All right. Human. And he, as he's standing at the edge of the carriage, says, "Well, if it were not for you, we would have been in a problem, yeah?" And he looks down at the man who you had just healed, and he says, "Ulfric, are you all right?"
And I imagine the last time we ended with me doing a burst heal on
yes.
everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But that, I imagine, was not going to bring him up to full health.
No, that brought him up
just barely.
Like just barely over dying.
Yeah, it was a 3d8 total. So Az is going to immediately kneel down, because imagine the man's still on the ground.
Yep, he's still on the ground.
Says, "Do not move yet. Your wounds are more severe than a quick heal. Allow me to see what your wounds are and treat and help you." Mm-hmm. And so he's gonna just begin. First, I guess I should probably do a little bit of a diplomacy check to see if he's gonna let me treat his wounds.
He reaches his hand across the large gash that you had already, with your burst heal previously, has now stopped bleeding, is beginning to kind of coagulate. All the blood is coagulating and starting to kind of heal slowly, but
yes.
It stopped the immediate danger. he grabs it and he says, "No, it's fine. I'm fine." And he tries to stand, at which point he does immediately poof, right back onto the ground.
No, you are not fine. But I am a medical professional. I can help.
And he looks over at the man who'd previously been speaking, and the man nods, and so he sequesters to your request.
Okay.
Sequesters, acquiesces to your
Acquiesces.
request.
So I'm going to do a medicine check.
Okay.
I'm going to... Let me check one thing with my skills here. See how skilled I feel today. I'm just going to do a basic... I'll do the basic level medicine check, which will, for treat wounds, which will heal for 2d8 if I succeed.
Okay.
Double check, yep. Yeah, so I definitely succeed. That's a 23. I should have done the higher level. So that will heal for, that's a 3. Oh, come on, 2 3s in a row. So another 6 points of health.
Okay. Pull out my handy dandy calculator because I'm done doing math in my head. So yeah, that puts him at 43. That's almost at health at that point.
Okay, good.
So you're good. He does feel that flood of.
Well, this is not magical. This is.
This is just you.
This is just me. So I'm taking some bandages. I got some ointments, and they're a little needle and thread. You know, I just kind of bind up that wound, kind of do a little. That's pure medical.
Yeah. So as you're doing
there.
that, he doesn't really make a heck of a lot of movement. You can tell this is a seasoned warrior who has not really, he doesn't really flinch all that much at pain and doesn't have a major problem with that. He, however, as you're closer to him, you're able to see him a little bit better. He's got a very strong jaw, blonde hair, back in braids. He is obviously from the northern country, bright blue eyes. And he most likely stands almost as tall as you do. So he's a pretty tall guy.
What brings you both and your caravan here to the Glass Canyon?
And he looks towards the man by the carriage again. And the man walks over and says, "Oh, we are on a mission, you could say. We are moving from the outside of Cheliax into Kintargo, and we are trying to suss out the viability of opening up merchant channels again with Kintargo, the capital. I don't know if your accent says you probably do not know very much about this country, yes?
Yeah, your accent, you say you're from Cheliax, but your accent is very much of Ravounel. Yeah.
We are just traveling through. We are not actually. I am not from Cheliax, but we are moving from Cheliax up through the merchant lines. So just to see if they work. I live in Kintargo. And then he turns immediately back to the carriage and yells, Sophie, come out! It's okay now. And you see from the carriage this slight fluttering and flurry of movement as bursting out of the carriage, like a flurry of motion, is a mid-teens young woman.
Oy.
She looks much like her father, except she is incredibly slim. She's definitely has a womanly figure. She has very, very long brown hair that has a very natural, beautiful wave to it. And as she passes a large rock to come towards her father, you see the ever so present image of a halo above her head. And without looking or seeing anything else, you see her go straight for her father, and she's like, oh papa, and she starts like touching his face and going all over him, and she's like, are you okay? Do you need any help? I can help you. And she like nonstop talkie, and she flips into the Ravounel language, and which for purposes of tonight, because I didn't think up of a name for it, it's going to be French.
Ravanese or
Ravanese. But she is going to she flips into French and she just starts going. And Anna kind of looks at you a little startled, like, whoa. She just kind of chuckles a little bit, and then she does this. Just looks at you.
Az looks back at her, sees that, and you see his face darken just slightly. Well, how do you feel? Talking back to the man who he was treating.
Ulfric kind of moves his shoulder a little bit, and it's straining just slightly. And
it will be sore for a couple of days. Is that your sword arm?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, I can continue to provide aid.
Thank you.
Over the next hours, or if we at this point it might make sense for us to travel closer together for protection.
Yeah,
But,
we were coming down the ridge, and this clan of bugbears began to track us. We thought we could move quickly, but I don't know how you came here, but it looked like there was a large swath of the road from the overhead that had been washed out, so we had to kind of navigate our way through, and that's when they caught up with us.
Where in Chilex are you coming from? We ourselves, as you can tell from my accent, that I am from Cheliax. Where are you coming from?
We came down from Pazik.
Ah, yeah.
So,
Along the coast.
Yeah, like Sir Michael said, we're just looking at the merchant routes, and he stands up at this point, and he has pretty heavy plate armor on, except for, strangely enough, only the breastplate and the small tunic bit on the bottom. His arms are completely open, and you are able to see he has very intricate tattoos that are coming around, all of the blood and stuff that was covering it that you've now wiped off. You can see there's a lot of symbology of like wolves and lions and like these really fierce tiger type things. But he looks at Saint Michael, dear heavens, Sir Michael, and kind of nods at him like, could you please take over? And he turns around and starts picking things up. At this same time, Farmer Magdalene has been doing kind of a check of the area and says, comes over and says, have you guys seen any other bugbears or creatures or anything like that as you have traveled? Sir Michael's like, no, the bugbears begin to follow us, and when they did attack, Ulfric did take a few of them down, so probably around the other ridge you'll be able to find that there are a few bodies over there, but otherwise, no, we have not seen really anyone on our travels from Pazik. I mean, there was Canis that we stopped at, but from Canis to here, there has been very little.
As seeing that he's kind of diverting to Michael, Sir Michael, you watch as he turns to face Michael, and his stance changes a little bit, and stands straight but not challenging, and walks over very light-footed, like kind of soft step, and gives a slight bow, and I'm going to use my diplomacy to make an impression, as would have spent time in noble courts.
Okay, go ahead and give me a check.
So, oh dang it, that's only a 2. But even with a 2, it's still a 13.
Okay.
On my diplomacy,
Okay.
and let's see, yeah, I guess that's you decide if it's a success or not, but he bows and. Quite pleasure to meet you, sir. You appear to be a individual of some import. I see your goods, very fine.
Yes. And as you come forward, he does take a step back and kind of puts an arm back to his daughter, who is standing slightly behind, but she's staring at you in a extremely studying way, and you can decide whether or not it's comfortable. I'm not going to tell you how you feel,
Yeah.
but it is a very studying look, and you can tell she's trying to suss out. She can tell there's something different about you. She's trying to suss this out. And Ana comes forward and seeing this little incident comes forward and also bows, tries to copy you a little bit, and she's gonna do a diplomacy as well, and that is a natural 20.
Oh wow!
Boom! So as she does it, she kind of fumbles a little bit, trying to copy exactly what you had done, but not being practiced in it at all. She doesn't do it right or well. But this endears her to Sir Michael, and he chuckles a little bit, and his arm comes back from protecting his daughter, and he says, well, hello, I guess we have not actually been introduced. You just saved our lives. I apologize, very rude. I am Sir Michael Sinclair. I am the official tailor and fabric maker for the Queen. Oh, no. Not the Queen, excuse me, for the Domina. It's difficult to remember all the different titles. And this is my daughter Sophie. And Sophie kind of steps around, and you're able to see her much better now. Very, very striking, very beautiful. If it wasn't for the halo, you would most likely know she was an Asimir anyway.
Yeah.
And as she's looking at you, she leans over to her father and she whispers something in French, and he whispers back really quickly, and she seems slightly agitated at his response and kind of folds her arms and pouts just slightly. And Ana smiles and looks directly to her and says, "Hello, Sophie. How are you? It's wonderful to meet you. Where are you all headed again? You said you're going to Kintargo, yes?" And Sir Michael says, yes, of course. And he begins to move forward and pick up the crates that had been strewn all over the ground. I would like you to make a perception check.
All right. That's a natural 1. I can't roll tonight.
Okay, you see all of the... I know, I was like, do you need to warm your
Quick
fingers
reminder
up?
for our viewers that you can use channel points to purchase a hero point.
Oh, we didn't do that as an announcement.
Yes, to purchase a hero point for our hero here, to be able to re-roll any D20 roll, which would have been really nice twice tonight.
Yes, if you're feeling kind and lenient, you can purchase with channel points. You can purchase a hero point, which gives 1 D20 roll. Weston or my character Ana can have up to 3 hero points at any given time. So if you feel so inclined, we start with 1. You do have 1.
Do I have one?
You do have 1. So if you want to re-roll it, it's
No,
fine.
this is pretty early in the game to re-roll.
I know. I'm like, we're like not even like a half an hour in, babe.
No, I'm gonna hold off on it, but still. Ugh.
All right, so as you look around, you see just broken carts and fabric kind of strewn all over the place, and Farmer Magdalene and Ulfric are already working to kind of get everything back up into the cart itself. Do you want to assist in any way?
Yeah, well, he'll help as much as he can. I imagine this would be an athletics type thing to help lift these.
Yeah, I mean, some of the boxes or the crates are kind of broken a little bit. So, I mean, helping doesn't just require getting up and putting it back onto the wagon. You can like gather things.
Okay, yeah, I'll do
some
more of that. And actually, if you're right, I'll actually use my crafting skill to kind of see if any of the goods appear to be damaged or hurt or anything that would decrease their value for him as a merchant.
Okay.
And that's a natural 1.
Can you just stop? Get a different freaking dice, man. We have a lot of them. I have a dice habit. Come on.
Can I?
You guys, no.
It'd be 19.
No, I'm not gonna let you reroll that one unless you use a hero point. Most of the merchandise is all fabric. So what you can see as you're looking at it is that like it's dirty. But
Even with that one, it's still a 13.
You don't know a heck of a lot about fabrics, and so like you're picking them up and kind of dusting them off. Some of them look like they might be a little ripped and torn and unusual, but most of it looks pretty good. Any of the silks that did get into the quartz area of the canyon have definitely been ripped to shreds, and that's pretty obvious to see. But you both, all of you, Ulfric, Anna, Farmer Magdalene, yourself, and Sir Michael all work together and kind of get everything put back in place and back up onto the wagon. And
as we'll turn to Sir Michael and say, I am a medical professional trained. I served in many of the noble houses in Cheliax. Now I have decided to leave the country, but I am very skilled. Have you been wounded?
I would like you to make a deception check, please.
Sounds great. Natural 20 plus 11. That's a 31.
Okay, he totally believes you. And Anna's sitting back there, kind of like, that's not true. Like in her head, she's thinking like, what? And Farmer Magdalene, the master of deceit that she is, there's nothing on her face.
Yeah, nothing.
She knows exactly what you're doing, and she is not going to say anything. And Sir Michael says, yes, if you could travel with us for a time, that would be wonderful, actually.
Yes. Was you hurt? You or your daughter?
No, thankfully Ulfric was able to handle most of the problem with all of them, but we were frightened most of all. And the daughter suddenly pipes up again, and she's like, I was not frightened, Papa. You sent me into the carriage. I wanted to come out and fight. And you see, as she pulls out of a slit pocket in her dress, a short sword. And she just strings straight out. And she's like, I could have done it. You said I had to go sit in the stupid carriage and do it. And she totally dissolves into French and starts like swearing. And I don't know any French swear words, so I'm not going to try. But she gets very, very worked up. And you see her father turns towards her. And they once again begin conversing with each other. And Anna just kind of looks at you like, what is this? Like, who are these people? This is very strange. And she does sidle up to you, and she's like, are you sure you actually want to, like, go with them? Like,
it would be good to have others. More people makes attack less likely.
Yes, but do you think the halflings that we still have to go back and get, do you think that they're actually going to be able to lie as well as you did?
They do not need to. I will do it for them.
So what, you're just going to keep them from talking completely?
We will see. I will let Magdalene take charge of them, and I will keep Michael's attention. And he's going to walk up. I imagine they're still kind of bickering here.
Yeah, the two of them are kind of fighting. And you, like, give me a perception check really quick.
Okay.
If you're going to do that dice,
where's
you need...
Where's our thing? That's still 17.
You need your... Hey, you guys, they made this. Anyway.
That's the 17 still.
Okay, you can see this is not an unusual fight for these two to have. Like, there are, body language-wise, this is an old fight, old hat. They're going over it again. And finally, Sir Michael turns away from her in just frustration and looks at Ulfric and says, could you please see if you could go find the horses? And in explanation, turns to you because he has kind of decided you are the de facto leader of the little party. And says, we had to let the horses go. We were afraid the bugbears would actually attack them, and then we would have no way to escape. So we let them loose as soon as the bugbears came into the glass canyon.
Which direction did they go?
We sent them that way, and he points to the kind of northeastern area of where the glass canyon kind of turns and continues down. So they had just sent them farther down the glass canyon.
Anna.
Yes.
Can Bruce help with this?
Absolutely, Bruce can help. And Anna turns and gets down on her knees, and she gives him scritches on his head and says, Bruce, now, I need you to go find the horses. Are there? And she turns to Sir Michael and says, "Are there 2 or were there more?" Sir Michael says, "I do. There were only 2." And she says, "Right. Okay. So Bruce."
Anna, let us get the rest of our party to help. We left a couple of friends back in the path.
Right. We did. You go and
I will go retrieve our friends. So
and Farmer Magdalene shouts at you. She's already halfway back up the ridge, and she's like, "I'm on it. You're good."
Well, yes. We left them. We saw that the bugbears were attacking, and they are not fighters, and so they were left behind. So we will bring them. There are 3 more of our party.
And don't forget, we still have a horse.
Ah.
Just as a reminder, and Anna kind of rolls her eyes and looks back at Bruce and says, "All right, Bruce, I need you to go find the horses. There are 2 of them." And then she looks back at Sir Michael. "What do they look like? Like, what are their colorings? Because Bruce may be able... Well, no, it's probably fine.
Wouldn't they have what they were bound to, which would smell?
No, they unbound them. That's the idea, is they slit they slit them off of the wagon and the carriage so that they're just running.
Yes, but the smell of the horses would still be on. That's so I would think to bring that to him to sniff and use his tracking skills.
All right, so she takes Bruce over to the wagon and the carriage and kind of has him sniff around, and she says, "Do you have it?" And Bruce kind of shakes his head really quick and says back to her telepathically, "Right, I got it. I'm gonna go find him." And he takes off at a dead sprint. And she turns back to you, Az, and says, "Bruce has got it. He'll bring them back soon."
Ah.
Great. And
Wonderful.
the daughter, Sophie, said, Did you just speak with the dog?" And Anna kind of smiles and says, "He's a very, very special dog." And so Sophie comes and sidles up and starts talking to Anna about Bruce and about their special relationship that they have together.
Az is going to walk up to Sir Michael, and talking a little more. You said that you served the Domina.
Yes, we do. I am I guess you could say the official dresser for the nobility up in Kintargo. It's a very small group of people, of course. But
you are one of great importance then.
I'm not any more important to have more than one guard, but I guess it is true.
Well, generally this area is not so dangerous as this.
Well, normally we do not have to go through the cursed glass canyon. Most of the time we can just go straight on the road from Carnes and go straight through. This was one of the reasons why the Domina wanted us to go down to Pezek to begin with, is she wanted to see the viability of the actual trade routes from before the fall and the separation from Cheliax.
Well, they was most definitely want to send someone to clean out that river. That overflowed its banks. The road is...
Yes, right. This is a problem with these areas, is the river is very, very fast. And during the spring and summer months, it rains quite a bit. I'm sure you have noticed.
Yes. The cart is not hurt, yes?
I don't believe so. And he begins to walk around, and Ulfric has been doing checking of the carts to make sure that everything is okay, like the wheels and whatnot are all good. There is one very large gash from an axe or from a scimitar, actually. Along the side of the wagon, but other than that, it just seems mostly like all of the things because of the sudden drop and all of the activity, just the carts, the packages. I cannot keep words tonight. Had fallen off, and you see now Farmer Magdalene is coming up and over the ridge with the 3 halflings and the large workhorse, not the cart.
That's right, we
don't have the cart
detached it from
anymore.
the cart.
But the very large workhorse that's coming up and over, and they are coming down, and Sir Michael sees the horse, and he's like, "Oh, do you have a horse? We could use him quite well. I don't know if the other horses were damaged in any way in their run. I mean, this ground is very rocky. Could we possibly use the horse?" And he's saying that too.
Very possibly, if one of your horses is injured. I do not know if we have the means to attach all 3, but if one of yours is injured, I am sure that he would be most willing.
What do you mean, most willing?
He is quite intelligent horse.
Oh, you have trained him well, yes.
Yes.
Very, very good, very good. Okay, so I guess at this point we should
We should move as soon as possible. We do not know if there were other members of this band. It would
Yes,
be
of
wise
course,
to
yes,
make haste.
Yes, and Ulfric comes around the side of the cart now, sufficiently. He feels like it's okay, that everything's all right with the cart, and he's keeping his eyes open and looking around, and he says, I agree with this one here. What is your name again?
Aas.
Aas. Okay. And the tiefling, who is she?
The knight is Andoriana.
The knight. All right. And he studies her really, like, zones, total scan up and down. Hell Knight.
Previous did not finish her trial.
All right. Meant no offense. It's just she has horns, so yeah.
Yes.
And he takes he has an axe as well, and he's like kind of getting it buttoned up and back into place.
And as he says that, things for just a moment is, well, we cannot all decide our parentage.
Nope.
And then he is going to, in that moment, manifest his halo.
Oh. Okay.
For just a moment, it will brighten the area just a little before it then dims again.
Sir Michael goes completely slack-jawed. Like full on in the face of all shock kind of thing. And Ulfric takes a single step back. And that's the only sign that he shows of like any major reaction to that. But as soon, like after a beat, Sir Michael is able to collect himself, and in a almost like not their voice, he says, "You are not here."
As I said, there are reasons I leave Cheliax. It is my kind of not so looked upon favorably.
I can imagine it would not be a good thing. And then he turns and he's like, Sophie, come here. And she's like, Baba. And she turns around and she comes
Ana?
walking over, and she's like, what? And Anna's just kind of like, this is the strangest thing.
Ana, is Bruce any sign?
Not yet. He'll be back soon, I promise. He's not, it's like, if the horses run really fast,
Yes,
so if they
yes.
were going at full gallop, it's going to take him a minute to find them. And Sir
Yes.
Michael, Sophie comes into Sir Michael, and he looks at you again. He says, could you do that again? Oh, sorry. Could you do that again?
And as reticently does for a moment, concentrates, lets the halo pop up above his head. The area lights up just a little bit brighter than it was before. But then quickly afterward, it's there maybe a couple of heartbeats and then goes away.
And Sophie's hands go straight up to her mouth. And she just stares at you with absolute, total shock. She had her suspicions. She thought maybe. But you just confirmed it for her. And she, in that same type of slack-jawed kind of voice, says to you, I have never met someone like me before. Are you real? And she reaches out and she touches your hand.
His hand kind of jerks away.
And she, in her like 15-year-old state, she doesn't really notice that. But she's just like in complete shock. And Sir Michael says, "Excuse our shock.
No, it's
we have never met another Azimir before.
There are not many of our kind. I would understand that. And I understand your protectiveness of your daughter.
Yes, of course. She has not yet been able to master hiding her halo, so she is not able to hide who she is." And it's like, as he's saying that, he's realizing what he's saying, and he kind of just sidelong looks at her like, sorry.
I understand.
He just
completely. And he turns it and begins speaking to her, and I'm gonna try and make an impression on the daughter.
Okay.
Now, and hopefully I'll roll better than
you got a better dice.
For him. Yeah,
it's
a 12
better.
plus 11 diplomacy, so a 23.
Yeah.
And just begins talking with her about, understanding the nature of it and the concentration it can take all the time to kind of try and hide it.
She has but did you had it all the time before as well? It's not just me.
I have always had a bit of an extra incentive to hide it.
Oh.
And so I worked very hard.
Were the children not nice to you either?
No. That is one way to say it.
Kintargo is a much better place than where we lived before, but it is still hard. People stare, and it is not fun to go into a room. I'm sure you understand, and have everyone stop talking, and they all look at you, and then when you sit down, then they come and talk to you, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, do you have your wings? And can you fly around the room?" And
yes, I understand. But there can be benefits when you know exactly where everyone's eyes are.
I guess that is true. It just would be nice if they were not on me all the time. And Sir Michael puts his arm around her, and he's just like, "It will be okay. It will be okay." But he kind of like pushes her back to Anna, and she doesn't really want to go. But Anna, seeing this, is like, let me tell you a little more about Bruce. Sophie, come here, dear. It's you know what he can do with a stick. It is absolutely incredible. And she kind of starts to usher her back to the front
With a stick.
of the merchant cart, considering he hates playing fetch. Back up to the front of the merchant cart, the carriage, to kind of get her out of the way. And Sir Michael and Ulfric now as well, Sir Michael is very interested in you now. But you give me
perception
give me
check.
a perception check.
That's a 9, which makes 21.
Okay. You can tell he is bursting with questions, and he wants to talk to you, but he is not going to overstep.
This is which person?
Sir Michael.
Okay.
Sir Michael is not going to overstep, and he is not going to be rude. He is of the gentry. He is not going to do anything that would be untoward. Ulfric, on the other hand, really doesn't have any problem with this.
Nope.
And he says, "Are you going to be a problem?
Is this going to be a problem?
In what way?
Are you going to attract unwanted attention? We have the carriage for a reason.
I have much practice in only drawing the eyes when I want to.
I don't know. And he kind of looks you up and down. He says, you are an Azamir. They're kind of pretty. That alone is a problem.
Well, I can, when needed, detract from it. No worries. If I can survive in Cheliax, I can survive in Ravounel.
And Sir Michael interrupts. You have lived in Cheliax this entire time, and you have been in Azamir the whole obviously you have been in Azamir the whole time.
He turns to Sir Smile and says, Sir, I would beg your allowance. We are traveling to east of, or is it west? Is it west? North, south? Okay.
Yeah. East.
West of...
East.
East of Kintargo?
Yeah, east of
Okay.
Kintargo.
East of Kintargo, but we need to travel through Kintargo to be there. I would very much like to help in any way I can in helping you and your daughter to teach her how to blend.
I would appreciate that very much. And he looks over at his daughter, who is talking animatedly with Ana. And he says, she has struggled of most of her life in many different ways. Being an Azamir is just one of them.
I would very much, whatever I can share in my experience, I would be happy to answer for you.
Let me just digest the fact that there are others
Yes.
that we now know. It's different when it is a theory and not
Well,
reality.
If you are willing to have us travel with you, we will have plenty of time.
Absolument. Absolument. And he turns around and you begin to hear the very faint pop, 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 pop. I can't do horse sounds. Down the canyon.
Need some coconuts.
I know. But you hear the faint clopping sound of horses coming back at a slight trot. It does sound like there's more than one, and then you hear woo, woo, through the canyon, and you know that's Bruce.
Yep.
Bruce is coming back with the horses. It does startle the war horse a little bit that we have never named, so we will call him Warhorse.
Wait, he's not Warhorse, though. You said he's like Clydesdale. He's a workhorse.
Well, he's a workhorse. That's the same freaking thing. Clydesdales. They're all Clydesdales.
Yep.
They're just different types of Clydesdales. It is a Clydesdale. It is a workhorse. Warhorse, whatever. But he startles just a little bit at the sound of Bruce's exuberance at coming back to Ana, and they all come around the corner, and you see these beautiful Arabian horses, significantly smaller than the workhorse, but very beautiful. Their coats shine in the sunlight, and you can tell they have been very, very well maintained and kept. As they come back up, they go to Ulfric. Actually, Bruce goes over to Ana and sits down, and she gives him scritches behind the ears, and kind of Sophie begins to kind of play with him and touch him as well, very excited about having a beautiful Cane Corso with them. And the horses, being as well trained as they are, they know exactly where they're supposed to be, where they go, and Ulfric very quickly is able to get them harnessed and hooked into the wagon and the carriage. And once he has finished that, he looks at you and Farmer Magdalene with the three halflings who have just kind of been hanging out in the back a little bit, and says, before we continue, there is a few spots inside the carriage. If you would like to go in there, then we can all go at a quicker pace. Yes, and then there is, of course, the seat in the wagon. I don't know. We may still need to have some people walk. However,
and then I believe we can. The halflings can ride our horse. I believe.
oh,
And so we once again, because we did this once before, we put the halflings. I think most of them will fit on his back without any problem.
He's a full Clydesdale, so there's gonna be enough space if they're like front to back.
Yeah,
they'll be fine.
I will.
But as you do this, Tip is kind of wary a little bit and says to you, "Is this a good idea?" Like,
yes, this is a very good idea.
Why? Explain it to me, please, Az.
The more people in a caravan, the less likely that wild animals or creatures will want to attack. We get another sword.
But if they find out that we're escaped slaves from Cheliax, they could just take us back.
This man serves the Domina. The Domina of Ravounel has not been opposed to the freeing of slaves into her nation.
But okay, I'm gonna trust you.
And he is going to be so wrapped around the fact that I am an Azamir, I do not think he will even notice that you were halflings.
And she kind of giggles, and you hear Brennan giggling a little bit behind her, and he just says, "Okay, you're probably
by
right
letting them know he was an Azamir, he pretty much took the attention off everyone else's race and ancestry by that one thing."
Yep, basically you did. They don't pretty much care about anything else now.
Nope. The only thing they'll remember is that they traveled with Nazmir.
You were totally right. The art of distraction by giving things away.
Yes, it was.
Yep. So everybody's settled. Everybody gets in. Are you riding in the cart?
I will ride in the cart. I'll ride in the cart.
So you're not going to be in the carriage?
Sorry, no, I'll ride in the carriage.
In the carriage with Sophie and Sir
Because I'm sure they're going to want to talk to me.
Yeah, well, Farmer Magdalene does not want to get on the horse.
I think Farmer Magdalene, I will... Anna, where would you like to ride?
I'll be totally honest. I don't necessarily enjoy walking in full plate, so I would like to not be on the ground.
Would you like to ride the horse?
And she thinks about it for a second.
I know you like him.
I do, but I kind of creature comforts and all that jazz. I think I might want to go in the carriage.
Is there room for two?
Yeah, there's room for two.
Okay.
It's a 4-person carriage.
You are welcome. Just know the chatter will most definitely be.
It's totally fine. I can close my eyes for a half a second. And you see, give me a perception check. Sure you want to use that dice? Just stop using that freaking dice!
14.
For the love! Okay. 14. You can see she's tired. She's got some bags under her eyes. You can tell she's tired.
Did you want to keep on the armor breastplate for the ride?
No. Well, do you think we'll run into any other trouble? Because if we do, I absolutely positively need to have it on.
Not with this group. Not with another horse. A huge horse.
That's true.
That will... I do not think so.
We haven't named the horse.
I know you have a desire to name things. So
Well, it's much easier than saying horse. And at that, she says it and the horse looks up.
Well, considering there are now 3 horses, now it would be easier.
Exactly. So we need to name the horse. And she looks at it and says, Do you have a preference of a name? And it just kind of sits there and stares at her. She's like, no, yes, no, okay. I'm just going to pick one. It's totally fine. But then she just said, yes, I would like to not be in the armor if at all possible. So do you think you can help? And she turns around and kind of points.
Yeah. And so he's going to help to get her, out of the armor. He very much knows how to do that.
Mm-hmm. And Sophie this whole time has been playing with Bruce, but as she's seeing this happen, she turns and is extremely fascinated and comes over and begins to ask a lot of questions like, well, what does that do right there? The ties at the front, and you bring it down, and the arm cuffs it. And she just like before with her conversation with Bruce, she's extremely curious, extremely into the armor and the swords and what you guys are doing. But with the two of you, it only takes about 15 minutes to take it off. Sir Michael is standing there waiting at the side of the carriage. Ulfric is kind of gone up on top, and Farmer Magdalene has chosen to get on the seat on the merchant's wagon.
That's where I expected her to be.
Yep, and so she's going to be there with the horses. The horse is nice and like they know what to do, so there's not a heck of a lot of need for that kind of stuff. So you guys all get into the carriage.
Yep.
And begin to make your way. You are making up for lost time. So Sir Michael kind of hits the top of the carriage and says,
one thing before we get in the cart, he is going to turn to Anna and say, we do not want them to know who we are or exactly where we come from.
Yeah, I figured that one out.
So,
Thank you.
Please try as much as possible to not react as I lie.
She's kind of like, oh dear. You know I can't lie. Deception is not a thing I'm good at.
Well, are there windows in the cart? Like, does it have
there
like glass?
There are windows, but I'm assuming you guys are still over where you had taken the armor off.
I'm more so look out the windows and watch the nature pass by.
All right, I'll try very hard. I'll pretend to sleep for a large section of wherever we're going. And
I will keep their attention. Don't you worry. I am very good at this.
Okay.
I might die in combat against cats and other things, but this I know how to do.
All right. Well. Okay, got it. We're good.
Yeah.
So you both get into the carriage, and Sir Michael hits the top of the carriage and shouts out to Ulfric, let's make up for lost time, yes? And Ulfric says, right. And he kind of goes, yeah. And the horses start off at a pretty quick pace. And you are now on the road to Canopy.
Yes.
Is there any specific things you would like to speak about in the carriage?
I'm definitely going to talk in very general terms about being an Azimir. Mm-hmm. I will talk and reassure the daughter that you'll figure out how to handle the social situations and all that. But he is going to craft a story about, learning the medical arts and apprenticing with an individual in Cheliax who was kind to him, and that he served in a number of different capacities for different noble houses, moving around a lot, never staying in one place too long. And
Anna's sitting there just like out the window. Exactly. Not looking, not trying very hard not to react, just looking out the window the whole time. But Sophie at one point does kind of, sitting in front of you, says, can I ask you a more delicate question?
Yes.
And Sir Michael
What can I do?
Sir Michael looks down a little bit, and he knows what she's about to talk about. And he's slightly uncomfortable, but he's going to allow it. And she says, so part of being an Azimir, right, is that you are more pleasing to the eye than others.
Yes, that has been my experience.
how have you handled when they don't go away? And Sir Michael reaches out and kind of touches her hand for comfort,
Well,
for her comfort.
there are things you can do to detract a little. There are also find those who you can trust, those who have an interest in your safety, and keep them close.
We and she looks at her father. We have done that. I have private tutors. I do not go into town very often. I normally stay at home, but
So
sometimes we do have to go to parties, and it's very difficult. My father is a very popular man, and I am sometimes alone. But nothing untoward has ever happened, thankfully. But it makes me very uncomfortable to have the noblemen come to me and speak in sometimes fairly aggressive manner.
Yes. When we get to the next town, I will get an item that will help.
Oui? Yeah.
I will teach you how to use it to, again, detract slightly from the, for lack of a better term, perfection that is our curse.
That would be very good, thank you. And if you could help me make this go away, that would be very nice.
Yes, that I
It's
can.
like walking around with a flag on top of my head all of the time.
Well, and yours, you do fairly well. It is not. Have you tried to intensify it?
Why would I ever want to make it brighter?
Because the ability to do the one will help with the other. And then he's going to bring out his and let it glow with casting light spell, which is what it does, and brightens the whole inside of the cabin for a moment.
At this point in the journey, Anna has actually fallen asleep. She's like been leaning against, like pretending to kind of like be disinterested and pretending to kind of fall asleep. She actually did fall asleep, and at the brightness of your halo, she's like, "Whoa, Aas!"
Oh, sorry.
And she kind of cracks her a little bit, and Sir Michael just kind of laughs a little bit at this.
And then he'll again, hide it. Let me help you with this. And then he's going to, through a bunch of the ride, will help her through different mental exercises for mental control over the halo.
Okay, cool. All right, I would like you to roll me a... Hold on, let me think. What time is this? We camped once. Okay, so it's mid-afternoon of day 2.
Yes.
Nope, I don't need you to roll anything. Okay. As you continue moving through the this kind of like semi canyon-y, pathy like thingy, you do eventually end up hitting the road that is the main road that's going into Canopy. And once you get onto that main road again, you can see there are people. There are more, there are a few people walking, maybe 100 yards, 150 yards forward. There's another small group that you can see in the distance. This is a little bit more traveled, especially since Canopy is just around the corner. As you continue forward, you can see the stress that you didn't realize that Sir Michael was holding on to begins to slowly kind of dissipate
As he gets into more familiar settings.
Yeah, as he's getting into more familiar settings, and they, as Canopy comes into view, it's not exactly a large town. It's also not a small town. It's kind of like this mid-sized little rural farming town, but there is a kind of bustling little city center where the main road, the main path goes straight into. And as you get into, you begin passing small homes, little kind of homesteads, and you can see there's some children running around, and the sound is starting to pick up as it does normally once you get into a smaller village area. And you come around a bend and you see the city center. Now, the city center has a fountain in the middle, which is actually, no, it's not a fountain. It's kind of like a trickle, but it is the main.
It's a trickle.
It's a trickle. It's not really a fountain. But there are women there and a few men getting water, and there's quite a few people just kind of standing around talking. It is later in the afternoon, so you can imagine these are people getting their water for the rest of the evening if they need it. And there are a few establishments that are circling around the outside. On the far side from where you enter in the city center, you can see a very large structure. It is a tavern. It is called the Three Crowns.
Nice.
The Three Crowns is, it's pretty much the largest structure in this city center. It's not a city center. This little quad. And it has 2 floors. There's bustling music coming out of it. You can, there's a few hitches where you can put the horses and the wagons and whatnot. It's obviously like the happening place to be.
Nice.
The other areas in this quad, there is a building that is made of stone that looks to be like some kind of official building. There are notes and signs posted on the outside of it. Then there are 2 larger homes that are also in this quad, and it makes up the 4 different sides of this area. Sir Michael leans forward and kind of shouts out the window, Osfric, please go to the 3 Crowns, please. We just need to speak with Effie. She should have everything ready for us. And you hear grumbling like coming from the top. You can't really understand it, but you assume it's a yes. All right.
As will turn to Sir Michael. We have talked at great lengths about the attention an Azimir can get. 2 would most likely get.
We would cause an absolute ruckus.
So, I have certain tools to help with myself, if you do not mind. It will change my appearance.
Absolutely.
And so I'm then going to use the hat of disguise I have.
Okay.
And just pulls out. It's a big, wide brim hat. That he puts on his head, and then suddenly it will morph into a bit of a beret. But then he watches his beard goes from this white color to more of a light brown. Eyebrows change to a dark color. Skin hue becomes a little more tan. And he looks suddenly more normal. Still him, but...
Still very attractive, but not Azimir striking.
Not Azimir striking.
Okay. And as Sophie watches this happen and says, Papa, you have to make me one of those. That is the I could wear it all the time, and then nobody would ever know. Oh, except for the damn halo.
We are working on that.
Yes.
Now, do the exercises we talked about.
And she kind of nods, and she kind of gives you this like lingering gaze, just a little bit.
Can we have her do like a will roll just to see if she can pull it down a little bit? Like, I'm intrigued to see if Az has any success on her.
Let's see if the hours of meditative breathing and focus control has done any good. I think I'm gonna just make this a straight.
Just make it a straight
D20 roll. Ooh, okay, that's a 15. So she closes her eyes for a second and takes a. And as you watch, it flickers for just a second. And she opens her eyes.
Is anything happening? It doesn't feel like anything is happening.
So it went away for a second, but then came back.
It flickered. So it didn't go away completely, but it flickered.
You are making progress.
I am?
Yes. Continue to practice.
I will. No, thank you very much. This has been very helpful. I appreciate it very much.
Well, we are few and must help each other.
That is true. There is only a few of us.
Well, Anna.
And Anna's just kind of like been sitting there this whole time, like, why?
Why?
Just why? How did this all happen? And you guys pile out of the carriage, and Ulfric ties the horses off onto the rail or the tie off.
And we've got our horse there,
Yeah.
which I'm going to
So
I'll
Horse
walk
is
over
there.
to Horse.
Because we still haven't named him. Horse.
Um,
And Tip, Farmer Magdalene has already hopped down off of the wagon. She maneuvered the merchant wagon over, and same thing. She kind of hopped down, and even though she doesn't like the horses at all, the Arabian horse is not a freaking workhorse, so she's able to kind of handle it, and she gets it all tied off and whatnot.
and he'll look up at him and say, we should name him Siegfried.
Why Siegfried?
Siegfried is a strong Chilaxian name. It is an individual of legend.
Oh,
Was a strong warrior.
okay. And she looks at the horse and says, so, are you okay with this horse? I mean, Siegfried? I mean,
Siegfried?
yes.
And the horse pauses for just a minute and then kind of shakes his head in what you could only assume is a yes.
And then he will speak to him. Siegfried, do you wish to stay with us? Or
He kind of paws at the ground a little bit and looks left and right. And the halflings are off his back at this point.
Yeah.
Yes.
he's writing
And
them down?
you see as he turns around and walks away.
Well, it appears that
But
he
we
is.
just named him.
This is the
See,
end
we
of
shouldn't
his
have
road.
named him Siegfried. He didn't like it, and he left.
I'm sure he would have preferred a Taldoran name. Bob
That is not a Taldoran name, I would just like to say.
or Richard. Would that have been better?
We could do Ricard.
Would that have been much better. And the both of you are bickering, and Sophie is just kind of standing right next, like she's kind of sidled her way up to you as, and is just kind of standing next to you. And Anna notices her and she says,
We should go inside, yes?
Yes.
yes. And
Sir Michael, you have a contact here?
Yes, the owner of the establishment, her name is Effie. And she is absolutely wonderful. And we had already arranged for rooms, but I imagine you have been such an incredible help. I would love to pay for your rooms myself this night. So do not worry. Food.
Oh, sir, I could not impose.
No. I will do it. You have saved our lives. Without you, we would have been dead. So,
and Ulfric kind of at that.
Sorry, you are on the ground, almost dead. Get over it.
It's true. But you all make your way in. As you open the beautiful doors, you do, as you get closer to the building, you do see it is a beautifully crafted building. It is not just a thrown together with a bunch of slabs of wood. This was well thought out, and probably one of the first establishments that was put up in this town. Very, very well loved. You open the doors and you see a very large opening with a bar on the right side,
Okay.
and tables, chairs, a small stage is set up in the far left in the back. There's a very, very large hearth or hearth, depending on
How the
how
way
you
you want to
say
say it. Yeah.
I say hearth. Anyway, sorry, it's not like people have gotten on me about that before. But it is a
No.
very large hearth, and it's roaring kind of fire is coming out of it. Very, very yummy smells are coming out of the kitchen area back behind the bar. And Sir Michael, nobody really takes a notice of you guys as you come in until Sophie steps into the room.
Yeah.
As soon as Sophie steps in, the newfound confidence that she has begins to wilt, and she takes a step back into her father, who just wraps an arm around her shoulders, and the muttering that had kind of quieted down just a little bit begins to pick up again after a beat or two, and Sir Michael with Sophie in tow walks over to the bar and just kind of taps it twice, and from around the corner by the kitchen comes out a very plump, pleasant, sweet-looking woman, about 45, 50 years old, and she comes straight up and she's like, "Oh, Sir Michael, it's so good to see you," and she gives him 2 kisses on the cheek, and he reciprocates, and he says, "Effie, it is you are a sight for sore eyes, my dear. It is absolutely wonderful to see you. Our room's ready. We need and he turns and points to you and Farmer Magdalene and Anna and the 3 halflings. There's a lot of people in tow. And says, do you have enough rooms tonight for our guests as well? We had a bit of a trouble with a small bugbear clan, and they happened to save our lives. So is there another room? I know we only booked the 2, but could we possibly have and he looks at you like, how many?
2?
2 more. Okay, 2 more. If you could have 2 more, that would be absolutely perfect. And Effie kind of looks at you with kind of a well, and then looks at Anna, and Anna's a little,
and he'll turn to Anna. You can room with Farmer Magdalene, and Tip, and then I will go with Steve and Brennan.
Oh, we're just going to split boys and girls.
Yes.
All right, sounds good. Perfect.
How else would we have done this?
I don't know. I kind of figured the halflings wanted to stay together, considering the fact they were so nervous about coming here to begin with. And Sir Michael is just still staring at you guys. And Anna's like, absolutely perfect. Thank you so much. And he turns back to Effie and he's like, Effie says,
could I do a perception check on the room?
Absolutely. What are you trying to perceive?
I want to see, are people going back to their drinks? Are people going back to their meals? Or are they still staring at this new group that just came in? 24 is the roll.
The people closest to our little party are very aware. But the farther back into the large room you get, the less interested people are.
They're not staring at, what's the daughter's name again?
Sophie.
They're not all staring at.
They're not staring at Sophie anymore. The people closest are very interested in what's going on because first off, there's an Azimir and a Tiefling in the room, which is quite shocking.
And then a bunch of halflings.
And then a whole crap ton of halflings, which this town may not have ever seen halflings before. But Farmer Magdalene does kind of grab you really quick, and says, if we're going to stay here, we need to stay on the down low.
Yes.
So we can't leave. So if we are going to get rooms, we need to get them so that there's shower or bathing and whatnot. We're not leaving the rooms while we're here. This is not the safe house. Mm. So we have to be very, very careful. And Farmer Magdalene does.
Well, I can leave.
You and Anna, you can leave. But
well, I don't. Anna might bring attention. I will see what I can do to help Sarah.
True. Okay. All right. She's like, I just want to make you aware of this because we're kind of diverting from the plan by hooking up with these people.
Anna and I will get the needed provisions.
Okay.
You are right. I would recommend that the halflings all stay in the room.
Yep. Agreed. Okay. And then she just kind of takes a step back. So Effie, just watching this exchange, is like, so we are doing 4 rooms then? And Sir Michael's like, oui, for food as well for absolutely everyone. If there is any tables down here, that would be wonderful. We can sit, enjoy the music, and enjoy the food, and have a wonderful time. Yes? And Effie just kind of smiles and she says, absolutely anything for you, Sir Michael. It's wonderful that you're here. We were surprised that you didn't get here sooner, considering we were expecting you much earlier today. And he's like, yes, I know, I apologize. And he goes on to explain the encounter that they had previously with the bugbears. But very soon, your rooms are ready. If you would like, a few tables have been kind of cleared. People have left. It is a little bit after dinner, so people are kind of finished with dinner and they're moving away. There's just a lute player and a lyre player in the corner just playing some soft music for the evening. And you are welcome to sit. You can go to the bar and get a drink, go up to your rooms, whatever you'd like to do.
I'm going to get the halflings into their rooms. And then...
And Tip's going to say, can we get some food? Can you...
Yeah, I will make sure that we get some food.
Okay, thank you.
And then Az is going to head back downstairs, but he'll say, I am going to run some errands. Do you want to accompany, or would you prefer to rest in the room?
Saying this to Anna?
Yeah.
I can come with you, watch your back. Make sure you don't, die by cat attack.
There are many cats in towns. And he's going to walk downstairs. And then the innkeeper's name...
Effie.
Was Effie.
E-F-F-I-E.
And he'll walk up. And he's got his disguise on, but still a good, a handsome-looking individual. And I'm going to attempt to make an impression on her.
Okay. Diplomacy.
It's a 15.
Oh, nice.
Plus 11, so that's a 26.
She's definitely impressioned.
And he's just gonna talk about how wonderful her inn is. So thank her so much for the additional rooms. I know it was short notice.
No, absolutely, of course. No, this is fine. We have many rooms, and as the merchant routes begin to open up more, we do plan on expanding into the back. And she goes into a little bit of their plans for the next couple months.
As you might have noticed, some of our party are short.
Yes, it's interesting to see a couple of halflings here. We get 1 or 2 maybe a year, but to have 4, that is a little surprising.
It is a long journey, and with little feet comes much tired.
And she puts her hand out and says, "Say no more. Say no more. I will have the food sent up to them."
Thank you very much. Also, do you know is there a location here where someone might purchase some cosmetics?
Like makeup?
Yes.
I didn't really, it's fine. To each their own. And she
So
kind of
Michael
points.
asked, his daughter prefers not to leave the room.
That is true. Sophie is a very sweet girl, and she does attract a lot of attention. I can understand that.
I'm merely running an errand.
No, it's totally fine one way or the other. And she points to the stone, like through the wall to the direction that the stone building was, and she says, "Well, that is the building right next to us is kind of our community store. It also works as like our government building. The only problem with that is it's closed."
Yes.
So, but it does open at first light in the morning. Most of the time, we do have packages that come in very, very early, coming down from the south. So you can go tomorrow morning there, be totally fine. But tonight,
not so much.
kind of not.
Thank you. He's then I'm gonna turn around and I want to survey the room.
Okay.
And I want to kind of use my underworld lore and see anyone in here seem a little seedy?
Okay. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Am I using my underworld?
Yeah, your underworld.
It's a
lore.
23.
It's 23. Okay. Most of the people in this tavern look
Pretty
exactly what you would expect. Hardworking folk, farmers. There's some people. They look like they might have come in from the fields for dinner. There's a few nicer looking individuals. One that could very possibly, with the way that he's holding himself, be the mayor of the city. But you don't see anything suspicious.
No, no younger, like rough, a little bit rougher individuals.
What you do see with that role is in the far back corner, opposite from the stage. There is a table of men that are, there's 3 of them. They're quiet. They're not talking to each other. They are a little bit darker in appearance.
Gotcha.
Not
Perfect.
in complexion and appearance.
Yes.
They've got the darker
Huddled,
clothes.
they're kinda, yeah.
They've got darker clothes. They could very possibly be rangers. They are not Strider. I am not creating Aragorn in this story.
No.
But they are. They could possibly be rangers. But they might be somebody that kind of like flags.
Az is gonna to walk up to the table.
And Anna's standing back there like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Yes!
And then
As you walk away and you're completely ignoring her and she's just standing there at the bar like, oh dear.
he's kind of stands next to the table, puts his hand down, taps it just a little bit, just to get the attention over there.
Mm-hmm.
Says, fine gentleman. Said in that kind
as
of.
soon as you come up to the table, you tap, and they're sitting at a tripod at a triangle, and the one to the left reaches out and grabs your hand with an incredible amount of strength.
All right.
And turns and looks up at you, and he lets you go, and he says, "Yes."
You look like the individuals who might have an idea of where someone might find a good game.
What kind of game are you looking for?
Well, my pockets are light and I'm looking to make them a little more heavy.
And you see, he has definitely a touch of roguishness to him. Slightly unkempt, dark brown eyes. His hair is very disheveled but pulled back into like a leather strap. And he kind of sits back and says, "What makes you think that we would be the ones to want to gamble with our money?"
Oh, no. You misunderstand. I am new here, and this establishment is a little too nice for my taste. I simply thought I might ask if you knew of a place where a little more interesting in the town.
This gentleman leans back and he looks at the companion directly across from him and he says, "Well, Victor, do you think there's any place that's more interesting than this?" And Victor looks up at you, pinched face, very narrow jaw, and he says, "This is about as interesting as this place gets." So, I don't know what you were thinking, but this is not. And the person in the middle just starts laughing hysterically. And he's just like, what do you think? We're a bunch of ruffians? What is going on here?
Well, too bad. Thank you.
Wait. And the first one tells you to kind of stop. He says, "What are you looking for? Really?"
I am looking for a good time. And this is too tame.
You came in with that group, the Asmere girl
Yes.
and the tiefling. You make strange company.
You noticed the gentleman.
Which one?
The gentleman.
No, you talking about Michael? Yeah, I noticed Michael. Everybody notices Michael when he walks in this room.
Yes. He is... Well, spending time around him is boring.
And this individual, this yet unnamed individual, does kind of like throw his head back and laugh a little bit.
We leave
Says,
tomorrow.
Well, the noble hoity-toity twite are normally kind of
Yes. And
boring.
so we leave again tomorrow. I am simply looking for some time around different company.
Unfortunately, there really isn't anything here.
Sure.
You get closer into the country, you're definitely going to find stuff like this. But out here, we're too small still. And you
Gotcha.
hear a light lilt of sadness about that. So we just are a couple of rogues. Why don't you grab a drink, you and your tiefling friend back there who looks like she could stab you in the back?
Oh, yes.
Why don't you guys, why don't you bring your rounds over? And you sit with us.
Anna. He calls her over. And
Anna comes over, still looking like she's going to stab you in the back. Sir Michael and Ulfric and Sophie are nowhere to be seen. You can imagine they're up in their rooms. Same thing, Sophie being the center of attention always is not going to be eating down here. But Anna comes over and she has with her 2 tankards of ale and sits down and at the proffered chair that this gentleman has offered. And she sits down and puts her drink down and puts your drink down. And there's nowhere else to sit. So you're going to have to grab a chair from another table.
we go
There was only 4.
grabs one of the chairs, and Az leans down. He says, puts down a silver. Says, I bet you that silver that this tiefling can drink you under the table.
And he puts his hand out to take yours and to like formally, he's like, well, let me formally introduce myself if I'm going to be stealing your silver. I'm Boris. This is Kartak.
Friedrich.
You're Friedrich.
Yeah.
And who is this beautiful woman sitting here? And Anna kind of looks at you.
This is Anna.
Well, thank you very much, Friedrich.
Sure.
I'm Anna. It's very nice to meet you, she says to Boris. And
Anna is not a unique enough name that it's going to draw attention.
No, but with that, we are going to take a break.
Okay. Sounds great.
All right. So, we are taking a break. Holy frick, it's 10 o'clock. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going by very, very fast.
All right. Quick break. We'll be back
Let's start with
in...
the ad. We will be back in about 10 minutes, and our goal for tonight has been for 1 subscriber.
One subscriber.
Uno subscriber. I don't know if I, what am I doing with my voice? Who knows?
Okay.
Anyway, but we are going to go on a break, a 10-minute break. We will be back for more adventures with these 3 ruffian rogue type characters that Az has felt so inclined to go find.
Yep. All right.
See you guys in 10. Bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We hope you had a wonderful little break. We are going to jump right back into the story. So, Az and Anna, well, what was your name again? Friedrich and Anna are now sitting at a table invited by a trio of roguish type characters that Az spotted from the bar.
Yep. So I just told him that Anna could drink him under the table, and I'd put down a silver, betting him on that.
Yep. And Anna looks over at you and says, "You think extremely highly of my ability to drink."
Well,
You've never actually seen me drink.
No time like the present to test it out.
Oh, good heavens. So she looks over at this individual and she said, what is your name again? Brute? And he's like, Brutus. My name is Brutus. She says, well, I am Anna, as Friedrich so wonderfully Orty pointed out. Are you interested in having a drinking contest or not? And he just kind of chuckles and he says, well, ma'am, I don't know if I have ever turned down a drinking contest from a beautiful woman. And Anna kind of irks an eye and says, you can stop with the flattery. Really. It's not attractive.
As look pipes in, there's how often have you been challenged to a drinking contest by women? Does this happen often in Ravounel?
And he chuckles and he says, no, but apparently my attempting to be slightly flirtatious with the lady is not working.
And as head back laughs, kind of a little over the top, and says, I will tell you that you'd have a better chance with a porcupine than with my friend here.
And Anna reaches out and just smacks you across the arm and is like, excuse me, thank you very much. Quite complimentary, this one. Jeez. And she looks at Brutus and says, absolutely.
Now, where's your dog?
He's been outside with the horses.
Oh, she's outside with the horses.
Chilling.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just chilling with the horses.
We, Bruce, we have,
So no. So Anna then says to Brutus, well, I think you and I have a deal. Let's see who can drink the most, shall we? I've never actually done this before, so this will be very interesting. And he kind of just chuckles and he's like, only if you want to. And Anna smiles and says, absolutely. And she raises a hand up and just a younger girl comes over and says, yes, what can I do for you, miss? And Anna says, I want you to keep this table completely full, all right? Drinks all round for this table, and if any of us ends up having an empty glass, I want you to bring another one immediately. Do you understand? And the girl says, yes, miss, absolutely. So should I get 3 more? 3 more. And Anna nods. 3 more, darling, and keep it coming. Actually, make it 6, so we just have another round sitting here. And she's like, okay, great. And she takes off. So Anna takes your drink and pulls it across the table and gives it to Brutus. Says, all right. Are we starting now? No, wait. We have to have parameters to this. Is this like just chugging it? Or is this like drinking it and we're going to get food and we're going to drink it? Like I've never done this before. And she's looking at you as like, you're the one who brought it up.
Well, Bruce, you are the one going to be drinking? Do you have an opinion?
Well, normally when you do a drinking contest, it's straight up. So, if you want to do this, we do it straight up. And Anna's like, all right, fine. Okay, we'll do it straight up. But can we pause to eat at least at some point? I am particularly hungry. And we're just like, absolutely. Victor across the way says, we wouldn't never stop with the food. We definitely like to eat. We're out in the mountains all the time, and it's kind of nice when we get to eat some food at a normal establishment like this.
Well, I will be right back. I will go talk to the owner, and I go over talk to Effie, and say, what's the special?
We have some venison, which is particularly good this night, and we have our sheep. We've got a few sheep farmers in the area that we get a supply from, so the sheep is really quite good. If you would like to do that, yeah, Sir Michael said all of your stuff is on him, so
well, then we need one for each individual at that table.
Sir Michael said for you, we're not paying for. He's not paying for the other gentleman.
Then what is the cost per?
For the meals?
It's like
2 copper.
like two, like a silver for the veal or the venison, and like
A silver? A silver's like a daily wage.
okay, you guys are not good with money.
Couple
Copper?
yeah.
Okay,
Like
that's a
1 or
couple
2
copper,
coppers.
like 3 copper for the venison, and for the lamb.
So he'll put down a
like
silver.
4 copper.
He'll put down a silver for her. He's like, for their meals.
All right, sounds good. Well, it'll be out to you in just a little while, okay?
Ah, thank you.
All right, and she takes the money and she tucks it into her little, like what an apron. There we go. There's the word. Tucks it into her apron and she turns around and she walks off. There is another little bartender there that has been getting the drinks together for the rest of the table, and kind of looks over at you and says, "This is for your table, right?"
Yes.
All right.
Does the whole like circle hand and then put it on the table.
Yeah, kind of thing. But she kind of brings over the tray, and you kind of walk back to the table and sit down. And Anna is sitting there, about halfway through the ale, and Brutus has completely finished his, and she's just like, I don't understand why this is fun. Sorry. I don't understand why this is any fun.
Get a couple more down, and I hear that's when it really hit.
Really? Because
Yeah.
it's not very good either. I mean, this ale. And Brutus kind of chuckles and said, well, this isn't what drinking is about. It's not about tasting good. And I was like, all right. I get it. And so she lifts it up and all the way back, and she chugs the rest of the drink, and she puts it down. Ah! I cannot say that is refreshing. Az, why did you get me into this?
This is having a good time.
Ah.
He's then gonna he starts kind of just asking general questions about the area. They come in, so they're out hunting, kind of just making that impression, getting to know these individuals,
Make
and
a
seeing if
diplomacy
there's
check.
any gossip he can grab. Ooh, nice. So that is a 25.
25. Okay. Yep. Through your conversation, you do glean a couple of bits of information. As the drinks flow more and more, you do begin to
Yeah, my whole plan for that drinking contest was to get them drunk.
Get them drunk. As the drinking continues to go, the gentleman in the middle of the three of them kind of ends up just like putting his head down a little bit, and he's not like far gone. It's not like he's passed out drunk, but you can tell he'd had a couple before, and he's kind of just getting sleepy.
Yeah.
So he's like going down for the night, and Brutus kind of just taps him on the back and is just like, "It's all right, bud. You can sleep here. It's fine. I'm sure Effie won't mind." And Victor's like, "Effie doesn't ever mind. We bring her food, so of course she doesn't mind when we have things. It's fine."
So
Anna's just like,
the venison is yours.
"Yep, we caught it this morning just over the glen, just past the Glass Canyon, actually."
Ah, by the Glass Canyon. We saw that on our journey here. Quite a sight.
Yeah. You know, they say it's cursed.
How so?
Well, and he kind of looks around. He's like, "We're not really supposed to talk about it because there's been a lot of life lost in that canyon. So the townsfolk don't really appreciate it when we talk about it all that much. But the rumor is that it was cursed by a witch quite a long time ago, which is why there's always this strife. But essentially, there was a giant dragon-like creature that came down at some point during the Taldor Empire, so quite a long time ago,
That would be a long time.
and rent in the center a gash into the ground, and it wounded it so deeply that it actually opened up what's now the Glass Canyon and exposed that area. But they say that the witch that came along after cursed the ground because the dragon had killed her family.
So that's why they say there's lots of problems in that area. We have a lot of missing people and things like that. It's a beautiful sight, and there have been wars fought over it, but it's a place of sadness and sorrow, so we kind of stay away from it.
We hooked up with Michael in Pesek and traveled with him, and they had the rains rained out the road, and so we had to go via the Glass Canyon to come.
Hot damn, so you've actually been through the Glass Canyon.
Yeah.
Well then, that's interesting. You know, we go around there often, but we don't like really go into the Glass Canyon. What's it like on the inside?
Right?
Well,
The horses don't like it. Hard on the feet.
I can imagine horses wouldn't like that area at all.
But we did run into a couple bugbears.
Oh,
There
those
in the
nasty
canyon.
buggers. They've been coming out of the forest more and more lately. Something seems to be spooking them. They're coming out in packs of 4, 5, 6. The largest we saw that we were able to circumvent was a group of 10, which is really unusual.
Oh, that is a lot of bugbears.
Yeah, and the leader was really nasty. He had an entire necklace of ears, it looked like. We were up in the trees at the time, thankfully, and left no scent for them to track. But it's been
Is it safer
dangerous.
as we continue north?
Absolutely safer up north.
Yeah.
Yeah, Victor and I and our little party, we're planning on actually heading north soon. Kintargo, the Council of Peers is coming, and they always need more help with gathering food and whatnot, so we're heading up there next.
The council.
Wait, your accent, and Ana at this point as well, is kind of like, she's been slightly enamored, but the fact that she never drinks, ever, she's kind of like in this woozy place.
You want to roll a fortitude save
So
for her?
yeah, I was actually just about to do that. She is kind of in between whether or not she's like
I'm wanting to see if she's drunk
here
or
anymore.
natural 20.
Oh geez, it's an 11.
Okay.
Hold on.
You've got a pretty high fortitude, though.
I know she has a pretty high fortitude. Sorry, I wasn't expecting to have to do this tonight. So it's a 22. So she's still okay. She's still alright. She's on her feet. She's fine. But she's definitely starting to feel it. She's getting a little like. He says, yeah. So where are you from?
I am from Pesek. Over the border in.
You're in
Cheliax.
Cheliax.
Yeah.
I explained your accent. How exactly did you get past the guards in Pesek to get back here?
We signed up to help Michael, and he had the connections.
Huh. Is it as bad as they say it is down there right now? I mean, this is one of the reasons why we don't have a lot of commerce, as they say, is because of those bastards down in Cheliax.
Yeah. They are not too happy at the rebellion, as they say it.
Well,
The liberation, as it would be said here.
yeah, well, Ravounel worked mighty hard for it, and there's a lot of problems over in that
But
region.
it was... they can't do anything because it was legal.
Yeah, I know, absolutely.
And those
In the contract.
Asmodeus worshipping bastards
And Anna's like,
must keep to their contracts.
yep. All of those contracts, they're very important. Those contracts that were signed by things. And, food has come and you guys have eaten and stuff. And she picks up a fork and just starts kind of twisting it a little bit. And Brutus looks at her and says, I do believe you owe me a silver.
He slides over. He put it on the table earlier. Just slides it over to him.
He takes it and he says, very kind.
Fun.
And he pockets it.
I think I had better get my companion to her room.
Absolutely. Let me you had a question about something I said.
As you mentioned, the council.
Oh, right. Yeah. The council appears. It's an annual council of all of the major figureheads within Ravounel. So we got the people from Vire, we've got the Strix, the elves. Everybody comes together, including the 7 families of Kintargo as well, and they meet, and there's a big hullabaloo, big ball thing, and I'm surprised Sir Michael hasn't talked to you about it. He's dressing half of those lot anyway.
He mentions that he was it was for an event that we were bringing all this. Including.
Well, that would be the event.
But
then.
you seems like more of a man of the wilds of the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you heading for the council?
The merchant lines have all fallen apart. They can't get food the way they used to. And there's only so much seafood that people like. So our little trio, we fairly good hunters, and they always pay pretty well for fresh meat that's come in from the mountainside, not just from the sea.
So if I manage to get some venison there, I will
More than likely, and he kind of
think of you.
nods. He's like, more than likely it's from us, but yeah, you be careful with that lot, though. The council appears, there's a rumor that there's a representative this year coming from Cheliax. So be careful. If you speak that way around them, what am I saying? They're not going to let you in.
No.
He laughs and kind of hits the table, and he's like, all right, well, you get your companion to bed. She definitely looks like she's 2 sheets to the wind at this point.
Yeah.
And Anna's just kind of twirling the fork and like watching it spin. And is like, I'm so sorry. Friedrich.
As for what?
Friedrich, my good friend Friedrich. Wait, was that your name? I don't remember. But this is my good friend Friedrich. And Friedrich, look. And she picks up she shows you. As it whirls, she says, the 2 on the outside, the 2 point, they spin. Look.
What is your name?
What do you mean, what is my name?
Do you remember?
Absolutely, it's Adriana.
Yeah. Let us get to bed.
I'm fine. Why are we going to? We're having a wonderful conversation with Brutus.
Bruce, has been a pleasure.
Do you know,
Thank
I
you
have
for
a
taking my
dog.
money.
I have a dog named Bruce, and as she's like turning around to say all of this, you just kind of very gently take her in your arms and kind of just begin to move. She's like, but no, he needs to know Bruce because the names are so alike. It's just like he's fine. They would like each other, and they're both black.
And I roll a
And
12 on my athletics check to try and lift her. I'd have no athletics, so it's just the straight 12. Just to see if I can just get her on her feet.
Well, she's definitely like, okay, Friedrich, we can get up now. It's fine. And she gets up and kind of stumble walks to the stairs, and she turns around and she says, goodbye, Brutus, and goodbye, Effie, and all of you beautiful people.
And as you're walking, he takes a leaf of an herb, and he says, here, Anna, take this.
And she's like, oh, do I smell it?
No, I want you to put it in your mouth. I want you to put it in your mouth.
I don't put things I don't know that are in my mouth.
It's an herb. It's a mint. So I give her a little bit of mint. And then as we're walking, I put my hand on her shoulder, and then as we're walking, I mutter in my voice, Nethys, God of magic, make pure that which is unclean. And I'm casting restoration.
I was about to say, if you're doing healing, it's not going to do anything.
I cast restoration, which will lessen a toxin as we walk up the stairs.
So you took her from drunk to buzzed. Got
Yes.
it.
I take her back to buzzed.
She kind of
as we walk.
shakes her head a little bit and is like, oh, dear Lord, that wasn't good.
Thank you for indulging. we were able to get good information.
Well, you would have to tell me all of this in the morning because I don't really remember anything. But I do vaguely remember the fact that you're the one that got me into this.
And I just cleared your head.
Are we? Is this a thing now? Like, whenever you need information out of somebody, are you going to offer myself up as a drinking buddy?
Well, you will last longer than I will.
How about next time, instead of a drinking buddy, we do an eating buddy, and I will try and eat more pastries than someone else. That sounds so much better. Pastries
I would have thought
versus
that
alcohol.
I know that in the Hell Knights barracks they serve hard cider.
Hot cider
No,
is...
hard.
I know, and hot cider is totally different. You have one small little thing of that. That's it. And like, that's with a meal, and you had me drinking. I had like 3 of those steins before we even had dinner.
I know that I have crossed many a Hell Knight who is drunk.
I don't drink that way.
Aye.
And she gets kind of serious for a second. She's like, I've never lost control like that.
Well, good time to start practicing. And you continue just kind of nudge her upstairs.
You continue upstairs and go into the room. Farmer Magdalene and there's the halflings have all stayed in their room. And outside of their door, you can see there's 4 of the plates left over and a few trays, a couple of drink cups. And as you head into the room that you two will be sharing, there is only one bed. And Anna looks at it and give me a perception check.
Ooh, only a 3. So that's 15.
Suck at perceiving things tonight.
Yeah, it's only 15. The Matrix will not open for me.
I know, the Matrix does not open for you today. You are not Neo. But she kind of hesitates slightly and then almost like with resignation takes her shoes off and lays down onto the bed and kind of sits back and rolls over to her side. And where are you in this room? Where are you?
Well, I'm
going
not
to
in that
sleep?
room. I'm in the other room, right?
You're sleeping with the halflings?
So remember, we split up because there's 2 male halflings and then 2 female halflings. So we were doing Tip with Magdalene and Anna, and then me with the other 2 halflings.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that didn't end up happening.
With Brendan and Steve.
That didn't end up happening.
So who's all in that room?
So when the 3 halflings went up, realizing they were going to be split apart if they did that, Tip pretty much put her foot down and said, abso-freaking-lutely not. And she went in with Brennan and Steve, and Farmer Magdalene, not wanting to like be alone in the room and also feeling responsibility for them, went into their room as well.
So
the 4 halflings are in the room.
And then I just walked into a room that's just me and Anna.
It's just you and Anna.
Oh boy. As looking around, seeing this.
This wasn't intentional. This is just the way they are.
Gets uncomfortable for a moment.
But Anna's already on the bed, faced away from you.
Yeah. Az will shrug. They already got her. She's not in armor or anything like that.
No,
so
she's already
not gonna
out of her
bug
armor. She's in just her normal clothes, like a larger, like a tunic and a pair of like deer leather pants. Like, I mean, she's just in her normal clothes.
All right, and Az is just going to then, slide up into the corner of the wall and lean back and close his eyes and try and start resting as much as he can.
Okay. Give me hold on.
I will hold.
Please hold for station identification as your DM needs to get organized. Nope, there's not really a check for this.
I can do a straight roll.
Well, what I'm wanting to do is kind of have you roll for like whether or not you're actually being able to get good sleep or not.
Yeah, actually, no, that
What
would
is
be. Do you want to do a fortitude?
Would that be fortitude?
I'll do
Okay, yeah,
fortitude.
let's do that then. Let's do a fortitude save.
11.
Okay.
Plus my fortitude, which is a 10. I have a plus 10 on fortitude.
Jeez. Okay, so 21. All right. So you do manage to get yourself into a comfortable position. Are you by the? Sorry, I missed that. Are you by the door?
I kind of put
Or-
myself in the corner facing the door.
Okay,
that
so like
way I
the
would
door's
see it.
here, the bed's here, and you're kind of here.
Exactly.
Okay. All
And
right,
I,
awesome.
this is the way I kind of prefer it if I was in this situation. I kind of put myself in the corner, so I got a shoulder on each side, so I can cross my arms, and there's a shoulder wall kind of,
Okay.
holding me there in the corner.
You're kind of like tripoding it.
And I'm in adventure explorer's clothes, so I'm in comfy clothes. I'm not in any type of armor at all.
Yeah, you're super chill. All right, so you do fall into a fairly restful, surprisingly restful sleep.
Actually, knowing Aas, what I will do though, before to kind of relax me, I will set up. I've got a couple candles. I do pull out my candles and I light a couple candles, and I pull out my spell book, because Aas has a thing to where he does also have spells in the book, and so he
It's
pulls
true.
out his spell book to start
He's
just kind of reading
He's
through.
also a sorcerer.
Well, but sorcerers are generally innate magic, but I also have I can also learn spells.
You're
So
a
I just-
magician.
Read through my spell book and kind of study them to just kind of relax myself and go to sleep.
All right. So you fall into a surprisingly restful sleep. The long journey so far, the exhaustion of the battle earlier in the day, and having to kind of perform in this evening has exhausted you enough that you were able to sleep fairly well. At one point in the night, though, you are awoken by a very sharp sound. And as you wake up, you can't place it at first. It's not a sound that you're used to hearing. Specifically being made by this person. But you're quiet for just a second, and then you hear again a coming from the bed.
Oh wow!
And suddenly, in a flurry of movement, Anna sits bolt straight up into bed, and she gives one final gasp, and the candles are all out now, so it's pretty dark. You don't have your halo, so it's a fairly.
Well, that's what I'm
dark
saying. As
room.
I hear that, and hear her, and kind of all the movement, I would probably bust my halo out.
You're gonna blast your halo out. Okay.
So I bust my halo out suddenly and cast light, which is just 20 feet of light around me.
As the light comes,
what's going on?
As the light comes up, you see Anna is sitting in bed with her head on, in her hands. She's holding her face, and she's completely leaned forward into her knees. And she's sitting up, and you see the very subtle shake of sobbing coming from her shoulders. And she doesn't respond to you.
No.
She kind of takes a deep breath and looks up at you, and
Are you well?
I'm fine. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to wake you up. I'm sorry. And she kind of just swings her feet over the side of the bed and just sits there with her hands on the side of her face, propping herself up. And
I imagine at this point I haven't had enough sleep to where it's like it's not end of day or beginning of morning.
no,
middle of night.
it's been like 4 hours, so
Alright.
it's middle of the night. But she just kind of leans forward and looks over at you and says, I'm sorry. You can just go back to sleep. It's fine.
color will slowly dim. All right. Well, sleep well.
Yeah, like that's likely. And she's quiet. You hear a little shuffling around a little bit. You assume she's kind of laid back down into sleep, and then into the bed. And in the darkness, you do hear her say, "As."
Yes.
Can you put your halo on at night, even if you're asleep?
And it comes out.
You see she's actually rolled toward you. She's not facing the wall.
Yes. I can.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, because the duration of it is until the next time you make your daily preparation.
So you can bring it up and leave it up?
So I can keep it up the whole night.
Okay.
I have to concentrate to make it go away. So, yes, I can do so. So it comes out, sheds light in the whole room, and he just closes his eyes.
Once again, you hear her slightly timid voice, a sound that you are not used to hearing in her at all. And she says, I can hear them when I sleep.
You can hear who?
The souls trapped in the crystal. They haunt my dreams. I haven't slept really in days, not since we left Ravounel, left Cheliax. Left that horrific place.
Tomorrow night. Is there something I can do to help you sleep? But with your charge, I do not think the situation at Enfarak is not something that will be able to be ignored long term.
I don't think so either. I don't think this is from Pharasma. You didn't hear them.
I could not.
They were in pain. They were afraid.
Did I ever tell you what my master studied?
Besides being an evil twit.
Yes, besides that. That was not so much a study, more of a natural inclination.
No, I don't believe you did.
My master studied necromancy, but not in the raising the dead, as in the force of life. He would, in many ways, wanted to understand the strength of the human soul, which is why Cuthwaldwin brought him into the investigation. He would find an example of an experiment is he would take a set of twins, give them both poison, and see who died sooner.
That's horrible.
And then try and track why one died before the other.
And you had to watch this?
I had to treat them.
So you got to hold the hand of the one that died?
In the end, they both died. It's just who died sooner. But he studied the force of life. And that is why Cuthwaldwin wanted his help. He studied the strength of soul. With the ambitions Cuthwaldwin has, they are going to need a lot of souls.
They're taking on the abyss.
This is not going to be limited to Entherak. This is not going to be limited to Cheliax.
Because Waldwin basically declared war on an entire plane.
I don't think you understand. He would enforce order here, then go to the other planes.
What, you think he's going to take those machines of war and he's going to try and enslave the entire world?
This is the only way to have enough souls to then take on the abyss. This is not going to be small, and this will not just include Cheliax. This is not going to be a small
thing. This is exactly what I needed to, get back to sleep. That's totally fine. And she kind of like,
the reason I say this is that others will notice. It will not be kept quiet for long.
Then we absolutely have to tell someone about the hole in the mountain.
Yes.
The gates. Aridin. If that's another way to get into Ravounel, currently they think they only have Pezik and the pass that was already destroyed.
Well, we are... I know that the Belfar Network knows alchemists, and the idea is to blow the hole and cave it in.
That is, if we can get Farmer Magdalene to where she needs to be.
Which we are far enough. I'm not too concerned. The reason I say this is know that when the time comes to take on that problem, I do not think you will be alone.
I hope not. I hope
this will be for many.
Well, anything that can drown out the sounds of their screams in my ears at night. Let's get back to sleep. I'm sorry, I really didn't mean to wake you. And she then kind of closes her eyes and curls into herself, pulls the fairly thin blanket over her body, and goes still. While not asleep, she is definitely going to try
and
to get back to sleep.
Lay back and keep his halo running all night.
And with that, I am going to ask Weston to please leave the table. You knew it was coming. Some things are only for the audience. Yeah, you can go in the office. It's totally fine. Now that I have you alone. The man sitting at the desk was half covered in shadow. Only the flickers of a small candelabra lit his face. The moving shadows softened the jagged wound at the side of his neck, but couldn't make it look any less ugly. A knock at the door stopped his hand, writing across the page. "Come," he said. The door opened on silent hinges. However, the three figures beyond are anything but silent. The man walks into the room, chains swinging from his belt. The armor hits the ground with the rough clunk, clunk with every step, while the great sword at his back peeks menacingly over his shoulders. A single move, and it would be in his hands. The man behind the desk stands. "Master of Blades, Mardinis. So good of you to come on such short notice. And you've brought your companions."
Mardinus nods and says, Titus? His voice is very deep, short, and to the point. Behind him, stepping into the room, are 2 additional Hell Knights, dressed in similar armor, with only 2 chains hanging down from their left sides, signifying their high station in the order of the chain. We received your message and came, as requested. He motions to the 2 people behind him, Sandera and Adam, my best. Sandera, a woman a few inches shorter than Mardinus' 6 feet. She has long features with a sloping jaw and high cheekbones, and she would be beautiful if it weren't for the massive scarring on her face in the form of 3 large claws marking her from eyebrow to chin. Adam, a beast of a man standing well over 6'5". As a follower of Zon Kuthon, his devotions show on his skin. His face and hands are scarred by thousands of small cuts made over time, all at different stages of healing. Titus reaches across the desk and hands Mardinus a single folder. Mardinus takes it and flips it open to reveal 2 pages. The first shows a young tiefling woman, light skin, 2 small black horns, and a list of known abilities and skills beneath. The second shows a portrait of a white-haired man, beautiful to see, dressed in common slave robes, eyes downcast. Mardinus hands the papers to Sandera, then turns back to Titus. These are the runaway slaves. This one, he points to the young woman, is dressed as a Hell Knight. A light voice pipes from the shadowed corner where he'd been lurking. Yes, she is a Hell Knight, from this order, in fact. And out of the shadows comes a white-skinned, white-haired gnome, Kuthwaldwen. But it isn't the woman we need. It's the man. He hid something from me, something that is rightfully mine, and I want it back, Titus says. And what would that be? Mardinus asks. Titus pauses for a moment, thinking, before continuing. His magic. All right, guys, that is going to be it for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. It's just me doing the closeout tonight. So I hope you had a wonderful time. Thanks for coming. And Weston is coming back now. I didn't yell. I didn't know you wanted me to yell. He wanted me to yell. I didn't know he wanted me to yell. Yell!
All right, so are we closing out tonight?
We are done. We just finished. So do not say anything to Weston if you follow him on the socials about what just happened. And he's good enough that I know he will not go
watch the replay.
He will not go watch the replay and find out what just happened. But thank you so much for joining us. We are so happy that you could be here. It's super fun to be able to sit and play this game. And I've got to say, I think tonight was my funnest night that we have played so far on this story arc. So I'm so thankful that you could be with us. Remember to subscribe.
You can use your Amazon Prime account, link it to your Twitch account, and get a free subscription to our channel.
In case you didn't figure that out the first 2 times we talked about it. But yes, go ahead
I want to do the watch party. I want to know. I
want to do the watch party too. We didn't do that poll this week. We will do it next week. However, between the 2 different movies, and we'll be doing that for the watch party. But yeah, I think that's about it. We will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for joining us.
And remember, it only takes 2.
Good night, guys.